We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 570, part of Dash Radio. How you doing, Mark?
Good, Jay. Where were you?
Where was
Jay,
I?
where were you
Mhm.
when you found out the Knicks were eliminated from the playoffs?
Same place I always am here, waiting to record another fabulous episode.
Are you still shaken from the news?
I am shocked. I did not see this coming a month ago.
Yeah, this is just out of nowhere. It's as if every game of the season has been leading to this.
Knicks officially eliminated, but we're getting what we kind of wanted to see lately. A lot of playing time. Randle shut down. Obi starting, playing a lot of minutes. We got IQ, Sims. They're all playing a lot. I mean, Obi's actually.
Jay, stop lying. The young guys aren't playing. The young guys have not been on the court all season.
Oh,
Come
right.
on.
Yeah, Tibbs doesn't play the young guys.
Tibbs put all the young guys to go fight the Russians in the Ukraine. Obi hasn't been seen in months.
Yeah, a couple 20-point games.
Couple 20-point games. He's been looking pretty good. Well, how do you think Obi's been looking?
He's been looking much better. I mean, he's starting to actually hit some threes.
Yeah.
He can score in volume. He's been getting some rebounds. Considering how athletic he is, I'd like to see him hit double digits, but he's been, getting 6, 7 a game.
Yeah. He's like, I go back and forth. Like when I'm watching him, Randle is recovering from an injury and he's taking the rest of the season off, which isn't that many games. But the Knicks, the last 2 games against the Cavaliers and against the Rockets, he played. And he played a game before that when Randle missed 2 games. But he's been looking a lot better, 2 20-point games in a row. And I go back and forth. Some points during the game, I'm like, I don't really know like what I'm getting from Obi. And other points, I'm like, oh, how did he get to 20 exactly? Like in the sense of here's the play that drives me crazy. And I like a lot of what Obi's doing, and I think he'll keep improving. The play that drives me crazy is you'll have Burks or IQ who are manning the point. They'll dribble up the ball. They will hand the ball or make a short pass to Obi. And what does Obi do? What's the first thing he does when he gets the ball from Burks or IQ?
What? Tell me.
The first thing he does, he gives it back to them and runs away.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, he does something?
No, he does. There's so many plays where basically like IQ or Burks, either one of them will dribbling. They'll give the ball to Obi, and Obi will be like, "I got the ball. Take it back. Okay, I'm good."
True.
I'm like, what's part of the offense? You think just hang the ball back to the point guard? Like Burks is like, "Here's the ball. I guess you didn't want it. Okay." And there are some plays where he kept doing that. I think it was in the Cleveland game, and then the one play where he got the ball, he passed the Mitch down low for a basket. It was a great pass. I want to see more of, and he does it a little bit. I want to see more of Obi getting the ball and attacking the basket.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I am missing from his game. He needs to be more attack oriented. He's got the size. He doesn't have an amazing handle, but his handle's like decent for a big man. Did you know he basically played point guard until his junior year of high school?
So the Knicks have so many point guards. I don't know what we've been complaining about all season.
He was 6'3". He had a huge growth spurt in his junior year of high school, and now he's 6'9". But he used to be like more average basketball height, and so he was like he does have some handle. I don't think like he's been shooting a lot more threes, but like he shot like 10th for threes against the Rockets. Not against the Magic. I don't know. Do you really want him shooting 10 threes a game? Does that make any sense?
No, but on the other hand, let's go nuts this last week and experiment. And if that's what he needs to get his percentage up to like a normal percentage to just get it out of his system, then let him do it.
No, the last month or so, his 3-point percentage has been much more normal. You know what? Here's one of the things I was thinking about was that, like, so people give Tibbs, and I hate to be the one, someone to say our coach has been doing some things that are right. But Obi's been shooting threes all season. And both of us have been saying, Obi, stop shooting threes. You cannot make them. Right. What do you think Tibbs has been saying to him?
I think Tibbs just tells everybody to just go, just do it. Like,
I'm assuming Tibbs sees the fact that his shots have been so off and says, just keep taking them. You're like we like your form. They'll go down.
I mean, so he's clearly got the green light to basically do whatever he wants right now.
Right. I mean, just like he could have, like, all season he's been shooting threes, and all season he's been really bad at it till more recently. Do we give his improvement for shooting threes? Do we give any credit to Tibbs for being very open to him shooting it? He could have just said, like, you're not a 3-point shooter. Like, Mitch doesn't shoot three. I mean, he's been open for Toppin shooting threes. He must have encouraged Taj to shoot threes. Like, he's encouraging the guys to shoot threes. I don't know. I don't know if, like, does he get any credit for the development of these guys? Because Toppin and IQ have been looking a lot better lately.
They have. We were like ready to just call it on IQ, and he's looked really good this last month, like really good.
He had 3 months where his shooting was atrocious. His play, like, it wasn't like playable how bad he was shooting. The last month he's been great.
Yeah, he's been.
I mean,
good.
Do you give it to the, like, before our previous front office, basically their plan for developing players was, hey, Knox, just take a bunch of minutes and see how it goes. Hey, Ntilikina, we're going to play 20 minutes a season for the first 2 seasons, and then we'll see what happens. There was no real development plan. Are fans being too hard on Tibbs with his like for development?
I think they're being too hard on that. I mean, there's plenty to complain about with Tibbs.
Yeah,
but, like,
of course.
He was also put in a bad position, really. Like, you have a guy who won Most Improved, and he was an all-star, and then you're like, well, also develop this guy who's behind him. Like, how many minutes do you want to cut? Like, I get that Randle had a bad season this year, but, like, normally you're not going to cut that guy's minutes to play like an unproven, like, sophomore.
Right. Even you want to hold him accountable. His minutes aren't going to go from 37 to 12 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Randle, and barring being out for the game, he just got a major contract from the team. He's going to play major minutes. You can find a few extra minutes for Obi, but it wasn't going to be like, I mean, Knicks fans on Twitter were like, in game 20 of the season, they're like, bench Randle for Obi. No coach in the NBA is going to do that.
No, none. Absolutely none.
And Tibbs, in his defense, probably looks at it and goes, the only chance we have for a successful season is Randle turning it around.
Yeah.
Which, but he's been, even before Randle went out, he was been giving Toppin more and more minutes and trusting him more. I know Tibbs does not hold the vets to the same level of accountability that he does the young guys. And you could argue if that's a mistake, and probably is to a certain extent, but his accountability for the young guys, maybe it's like beneficial for their development.
It could be. I mean, Obi actually came out today and said he doesn't learn by watching video. He learns by getting a lot of minutes. So I'm sure that'll rile up a lot of people. But
only you were playing him 40 minutes a night. You know how far advanced he'd be?
You know, everybody learns differently too, though. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
some players might learn a lot watching videotape, and some need to be on the floor. Obi's clearly a guy who needs to be on the floor, because as soon as he started getting a lot of minutes, his play got so much better. Right.
I mean, if Tibbs says, like, these are certain things you have to do to be on the floor. I want to see certain things from you on defense, certain things from you on offense, and if you don't do them, I'm going to pull you fast. On the one hand, makes guys, like, anxious while they're out there, but maybe it gets them to, like, fix these things faster. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
all I'm saying is that
also
the guys
like-
are playing well lately, and the world of the Knicks Twitter world and Knicks fandom out there has been crushing him. They're like, Tibbs is freaking horrible with the team. I love the development of the young guys. Tibbs, I don't know what Tibbs is doing. The young guys are playing so well. Like, these things can't be both true. Tibbs can't be a terrible coach, but the young guys are playing well and developing.
Yeah.
There has to be some and people love what RJ's doing. Most of RJ's development has been under Tibbs.
Yeah. Yeah. RJ, who's averaging over 20 points a game this season.
Yeah. That's pretty big news. His numbers, I mean, his shooting numbers in the last month have been a little bit off. I mean, so RJ has not been that efficient as of late. And overall, across the whole season, he hasn't been amazing efficient lately. But, I mean, he's a guy, he's going to a higher volume of shots. I feel like the efficiency will come over time.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny because Randle and RJ have similar stats, but Randle's season was a disaster and RJ's season was like a breakout season.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like one guy's on the upswing, one guy's falling off from last year.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's hey, so the Knicks last year, they tried to make their team from last year, they tried to sacrifice some defense to be better on offense. Are you curious to know where the Knicks are? I mean, the season's over. The Knicks have 3 games to go, so the season's basically over. Where do you think the Knicks ended up on offense and defensive rating for the league? Obviously, this could change slightly between now and the last 3 games. Where do you think the Knicks rank in defensive rating?
Defensive
Like,
rating.
how do you think the Knicks defense has been this season?
So what were they last season? 3?
Last year, they were, I think, 3rd in the NBA or 2nd in the NBA. They were a great defense. This year, for much of the season, we've been crushing. The Knicks defense has been garbage. They're centers. They've had a lot of issues in that defense. Where do you think they've ended up on defense?
16.
They were 11th.
That is, well, a month ago they were in the 20s, right?
Yeah, they were. They really moved up on defense. And part of it probably is having a stable center position now because Mitch has been healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and Sims has been playing a lot better. Also playing more of the young guys who just give more effort on defense.
Mm-hmm. And
Defense is looking
by like almost every advanced metric, Quickly has been a really good defensive guard.
Yes. And that's also the thing. Do you think he'd be as good on defense as he is now? I'm not saying he's like all NBA, but he's been a very good defensive player. Would he be as good if it wasn't for Tibbs?
Probably not. I mean, that's what Tibbs does, right?
Yeah.
It's I'm probably the most impressed by the leap that IQ has taken since midway through the season.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I would say most outside of Randle, who's just not giving the effort on everything on defense. Is there anyone on the team do you think is not playing better defense? Like Tibbs is not benefiting in some way on defense. Like they're not playing better than you'd expect. I don't know if better you expect. Like they're not playing like even Fournier, who's not a good defender, is like giving more effort on defense and playing better maybe because of Tibbs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Randall's the only one that seems to actually be like dogging it on defense.
Yeah, everyone else is really giving effort on defense. They tried to improve the offense. They brought in. What do you say?
Which is really what you want in a team leader, a guy who's dogging it on defense.
I think Jay, have you reached the point that that the number one priority for the offseason may not even be point guard, just be moving on from Randle?
Yes, which, as you know, I was a staunch Randle defender. I was behind Randle for so long, but I feel like with the improvement Obi's made and with all the drama that Randle's bringing, we don't know if he really requested it. He said he did not request the trade, but something seems really off. The guy also like never misses games, and all of a sudden he's missing like 9 out of the last 10 games. Something seems really, really off, and I think he really wouldn't mind to be traded, and I think most Knicks fans would be behind that anyway.
I was listening to Bill Simmons' latest podcast. He had Ryan Russillo on, who was just like, he's like, have you been watching what Randle's been doing in New York? He doesn't seem to give a crap. Like even national, like other figures outside the New York world are noticing how Randle does not seem to give a crap on the court anymore.
Yeah.
It is also always funny that like Knicks fans are like, Randle needs to go. He's garbage. He's the worst player that ever played a game. By the way, do you think we can get Dame for him?
I know. It's like,
Do you think Donovan Mitchell for Randle straight up? Come on.
guy's like unplayable, but let's take a multi all-star for him.
You know, every other team, I mean, like, everyone would want him. He's so good. He's an all NBA player that we can't play, and we think he's garbage.
I love the trade season.
Yeah, we can get to this in a second. But so, how do you think the Knicks are doing an offensive rating? So, defensive rating, the Knicks are 11th, improved a lot as of late. And everyone on the team, like, there's a bunch of guys that seem like they can play good defense, and even guys that aren't good defenders, like an Obi or a Fournier, are giving a lot of effort on D, except for Randle, of course. Where are they on offense? How are they? Their goal this season was to be better on offense. I think last year they were around 20th or so. I don't know exactly where they finished. They weren't a very good offensive team last year. Where do you think they are this season?
I feel like they're still not great. I'm gonna go slightly below the middle. I'm gonna say like 18.
22nd.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that feels about right.
Yeah, they're actually slightly ahead of the LA Lakers. Lakers are what a garbage. What a dumpster fire that team is. So
far, this has been a very bad year for manufactured super teams. Lakers are 3 games out with 4 left, and the Nets are going to finish either 9th or 10th.
You know what? Like, I bet if we get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, we can get to the play-in game.
I know. It's crazy. Now it looks like Simmons won't even be there for the play-in games.
No, Simmons, who's also has the audacity to be like, "Hey, Philly, remember when I didn't want to play for you? I want my $20 million back."
Yeah.
Holy crap! Whatever. That's just insane. But the Knicks, what do they do? But where do you think they are in pace? Another improvement goal was to improve pace. Where are they in pace?
I feel like 3/4 of the way through the season, they were like dead last.
They're not dead last anymore.
Right. Yeah, I figured that because Obi plays like insanely quick, and so
the young guys are fast. What do you think they are?
I'm gonna say it's still such a small amount of the season that they've been playing fast that they're probably still low. I'm gonna say like 24th,
29th. Okay. They're just second worst.
So they moved from 30th to 29th.
You know what's interesting? Here's the bottom 4 teams: Philly at 27, Miami at 28, the Knicks at 29, the Mavericks at 30. You don't need to be a fast team to be a good team because 3 of the 4 teams are pretty good.
Yeah,
but the Knicks need to be faster, clearly.
Well, either that or you just have to get as efficient as those other 3 teams.
Yes, that is a good point. So I don't know. Do you like true shooting percentage or effective field goal percentage better? I mean, not that it matters that much, but
I hate all advanced stats.
Yeah. Where do you think the Knicks are in true shooting percentage? How are they as a team in shooting the ball?
Shooting the ball.
Last year, the Knicks field goal percentage, I forget whether they were a true shooting percentage, but field goal percentage, the Knicks were one of the best shooting teams in the NBA last year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best from 3, one of the best from like shooting. They were a pretty good shooting team this last year. And before the season, we were like, we have a bunch of guys that can really shoot. This is going to be a great season.
I'm going to say low because RJ hasn't been efficient. Randle's shooting a little worse. IQ shot bad a lot of the season. Obi was shooting bad. I'm going to say like 23rd.
There are a lot of offensive rebounds when you're Mitchell Robinson, when your team is 26th in true shooting percentage.
I was close.
Yeah. And the teams below them are the Raptors, who are actually a pretty good team, then the Magic, Pistons, and OKC. Okay, so actually, Memphis is 24th, which is surprising because Memphis is one of the best teams in the NBA. There's always a team to be like, oh, well, they're here also, and they're really good. So you can win not having a high true shooting percentage, I guess.
Right.
Where do you think the Knicks are in rebounding?
Again, I think they're not great. I'm going to say 24th.
They're the 5th best team in the NBA in rebounding.
Really?
Rebounding percentage, yeah.
Wow, okay. That's surprising to me, but okay.
I mean, they get a lot of offensive rebounds. they have a bunch of big guys who can get rebounds. And Randle, even when he sucks, gets a lot of rebounds. Even their guards get a lot of rebounds.
Yeah.
Assist percentage. Where are the Knicks? And spoiler alert, the Knicks aren't the worst team in assist percentage. That falls to the Raptors, who again are a good team.
I'm going to say 26th.
You know what? That's the bottom four teams. Actually, you nailed it. 26. The Knicks are 26. The bottom four teams below them are the Bulls, the Bucks, the Jazz, and the Raptors. Again, proving you don't necessarily have to have a high assist percentage to be a good team. But you can't be bad at all these categories.
I mean, they all have like all-stars who can, kind of take the game on, create their own shots.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Just thinking about I don't know I don't know how to phrase this. Where do you think? Do you know what category they're really terrible in? Steals. The Knicks are 27th. They have a good defense, but they don't create a lot of turnovers. So 27th in steals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That would free throw percentage. The Knicks are not to read stats, people, but they're like 26th in free throw percentage. One thing the Knicks really wanted to do of the season was shoot a lot more threes. Where do you think they are in 3-point shots? Like just attempts.
Attempts. I would say they've gotten better with that. Say around middle, 14th.
You're 10th. Last year, I think they were last in the NBA, so
Yeah.
that's a pretty good move. And they're like 13th in 3-point percentage. Their field goal percentage is terrible. Anyway, that's taking you down stat lane just to go to see where the Knicks are. So how do you improve for next season? Like looking at all these stats and where they are, how do they improve this roster? What are the keys to basically improving like some of these stats to get better?
I feel like they really need to just nail a draft pick. Like,
Yes.
I know it's going to probably be around 10, but they're going to have to just get that steal, get that Giannis, or get that Donovan Mitchell. Like, they're going to have to absolutely nail the draft.
Okay, Jay, I'm going to play a little debate here for you. Okay, I'm going to be Nick's Twitter and tell me say what you said again. Just repeat yourself.
The Knicks are going to have to really just nail their draft pick.
I don't know, Jay. We have a crowded roster. There's going to be no playing time.
Oh, right. Yeah. Why even draft anymore? Trade away all the draft picks. The Knicks are stacked.
The Knicks are much better at drafting later in the draft. Why don't we trade this pick for pick 47 in the draft? We'll be really good at pick 47. I bet we get someone good at 47.
I mean, yeah, they've probably drafted like 25th pick talent with like the 34th pick, which, yes, that's good. But they've also picked like 22nd pick talent with the top 10 pick. So not good.
Exactly. We shouldn't draft in the top 10 anymore. It doesn't help us.
I don't even know what to say to stuff like that.
There's no play, and Tibbs doesn't play the young guys. Young guys don't play. Tibbs will probably put the guy in the G League all season, so why even draft?
I know. Barrett never plays.
I wonder if Leon Rose could turn this pick into 7 second-round picks from 2037. That would be a move.
They could add to their treasure trove of draft picks.
What if they could trade this pick, number 12 pick in the draft, for a top 16 pick from the Hornets for next season? Yeah. Because next year's draft is the better draft, so just don't even draft this year. No minutes to go around. How are they going to have – I mean, listen, there's no way to draft anyone unless you trade all the veterans.
These are things we really see on Twitter. That's the crazy.
Oh my God, it's just Jay. I'm just asking Jay. What if we package Burks and Fortier and a second-round pick? Could we get Donovan Mitchell and Gobert?
Oh yeah, that's right. Andrew just said we have the double draft next year because we can draft high school kids because that always works out.
What if we get the high school kids a year early? Yeah.
What if we get them with even less development?
Yes, exactly. We're really good at getting guys with very little development, even less. It's going to double draft. That's also, yeah. Leanne Rose going to be like, I'm so smart. I trade this pick for an extra second round pick next year and the 40th pick. I pushed it back because our roster's too low. You can't even play guys. Like, look how good our. I was talking to someone about this. They're like, they said this to me actually in like a conversation. And I was like, yeah, what if the guy they drafted 12 is just better than other players in practice who gets minutes?
Right. Yeah, you could do that. You know?
Yeah, maybe. By the way, so the Knicks are currently seated at they're at 12. They're not going to move to 13 because Brooklyn's at 13. They're not going to catch them. Their competition, the Washington and New Orleans have 34 victories. The Knicks have 35. So that's where we can move up. The highest we're really going to get to is 10. Let's do the simulation on Tankathon. Okay, ready, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
And we're still 12. And we're still 12. And we're still at 12. And we're still at 12. Holy shit. We're 13. How do we get to 13? We're at 12. We're 12. I'm going to do this till we move up. 12. 12. 12. I think I can do this the rest of the show, Jay. We're never going to move up.
I mean,
like,
isn't there like a 1% chance of getting a top? Well, definitely the top pick.
Currently, as seeded, the Knicks would have a 7% chance of the top 4 pick and a 1.5% chance of the overall number 1. And apparently, we did it. On my 37th try, I got us to number 4.
All right.
Let's do it. Jaden Ivey. We're doing that. I also love when you'll see other people in the Knicks world debate who they would take in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you even discussing it? Like, why are you wasting breath or wasting typing? Like, the Knicks' chance of getting this pick are so little.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, Knicks fans will be like, oh, I'm pissed. I'm going to be so pissed when we find out the Knicks didn't win the lottery. Like, did you buy a lottery ticket like in your real life and like go like, I can't fucking believe these $2 did equal $40 million.
Right.
It's a lottery. It's like if you were pissed the Knicks didn't get a top 3 pick, then you should have been advocating tanking.
Right.
Like,
right.
It'd be great if they get it, but like, so how you doing, Jay? Want to do some questions?
Yeah, let's do questions.
First question we got here is on. Do we have any emails?
nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We have no emails this week.
Whatever. David writes from Facebook, has Julius played his last game as a Knick, or will the front office pound an old formula as hard as Tibbs did all season? So, Jay, it's going to be hard to. What percentage chance do you think of Randle being on this team next year or being off this team?
I say it's probably a 75% chance he's still here, just because difficulty moving him. I'm not going to say it's not for want. It's just like, hey, we got this guy who inexplicably is like pouting and all these shenanigans.
Yeah, he had a terrible season. You're not going to be able to get much. And the Knicks aren't, I mean, they should not. I'm not to the point where the Knicks need to put an asset attaching to him to get rid of him. Like, no assets. He's got to either go for. I don't want to trade assets to get rid of him. Do you want to trade assets to get rid of him?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not unless it's one of the treasure trove of second rounders.
So is there a scenario where Julius comes back and it works out for the Knicks?
There is, but in the multiverse, that would be like 3 out of the infinite universes.
That'd be like there's a greater chance of us getting the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say Julius, he goes, you know what? My problem was I wasn't as good a shape. I'm going to spend the offseason really kicking ass. I'm going to be in incredible shape when I get to the regular season. He is in much better shape. The Knicks point guard situation looks a little better. IQ's taking a step forward. Maybe he's starting point guard, or maybe they brought in Jalen Brunson or someone else. Is there a chance it looks better, basically, just with him being in much better shape?
Is it that he was in bad shape? I feel like he was in bad shape mentally, not physically.
I think both. Well, they said he didn't come into, they said he didn't come into camp in the same shape he did last offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that affected his game. I don't know. You're right. Mentally, he didn't seem like the same shape either.
It's possible. I just feel like it was more mental than physical.
I remember last year we were like, "What's that? Is that Thin Randle?"
Yeah.
He doesn't look like Thin Randle. I mean, not like he looks like he doesn't look like Doncic out there, or like but like he does look like he is not quite the same shape as last year.
Yeah, but I haven't seen him like huffing and puffing. I have seen him like throwing temper tantrums and trying to fight people and getting angry at wins, and I think it's a lot more mental than it is physical.
I mean, I agree with you. I just yeah. David also writes, and where does Cam Reddish fit in now?
I don't know. We still don't really know what Cam is. He finally would have had a chance to get all these minutes, and then he gets hurt. So, like, is Cam good? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he showed flashes. He's like, he has like you see him play. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't watch enough of him in Atlanta. It's an interesting thing in Atlanta also, where he was like, they were playing him 20 minutes a night, and he's like, he went to the front office, I think, before the season and said, like, hey, guys, I think I should be like, the offense should run around me. I should be the star here. And Atlanta's like, yeah, we got like 7 guys better than you. We can try to trade you if you want. Like, the Atlanta's like, there was like the right, like, there was like, they heard everything they heard from him. They were like, this is just not going to work out. He thinks he can be a star. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I appreciate the confidence. On the other hand, when you have a pretty stacked team and you're playing 20 minutes and you're complaining that you need more time when you haven't really, like, I don't know, earned it, I guess, not a good sign, I would say.
I mean, how do you feel? So he's gotten less minutes, and we were frustrated he wasn't playing at first. But once he started playing and Tibbs gave him minutes, Tibbs wasn't giving him even as many minutes as he got in Atlanta. But is that like, he's got to be developed, I guess, for this to work out. And so, like, do you want Tibbs to gift guys minutes, or him to, like, give them minutes when they earn it, so to speak?
I mean, the problem again is where are the minutes coming from?
I mean, I guess basically there is a thing called practice. There is a training camp. Maybe in training camp, maybe in practice, you beat guys out. Like, we don't see practice. We don't see the training camp. Maybe you got to really impress the coach. And the coach is going to be like, what, he sees that, and then he gives you more playing time.
Yeah, I just don't know whose minutes he's taking.
Alec Burks. Maybe he takes some minutes from.
Is Burks that bad, or do people hate him just because he's almost 30? Like,
I think there's a little bit of, like, there's an ageism to Knicks fans. Like, at a certain age, like, they're like, fuck him.
Like, when Burks is playing not point guard, he's actually a very good player.
Yeah, he's exactly like, if you were like, hey, I want a guy 20, 25 minutes off the bench who's a streaky shooter but can put me in games some nights, take over. He's a pretty good player.
Yeah.
I feel like he might be moved also.
Yeah, I mean, if the Knicks go full youth movement, he's going to get moved. It's just, like, people are really hard on this guy, and I don't get it. Like, he's playing out of position, and he's not playing good in that position, but when he's played the way he should be, he's a good player. I
feel like Knicks fans, is not that they most of the frustration is not necessarily at Burks as much as it's at Tibbs for playing him in that position. Mm-hmm. I guess. I think it's also a tough situation for, like, Tibbs. Like, if you go full youth movement and don't play the vets, you risk losing the locker room, and then you risk losing your job.
Right.
Like, I mean, like, in some ways you have to have the vets on your side, and if the vets are on your side, then it's easier to develop the young guys and keep them in line. If you lose the vets and the young guys stop respecting you also, then you're developing no one.
It's not a great situation.
I don't know. Like, do you think he's learned? Like, do you think some of his, like, giving extra leash to, or extra leniency to the Randle is in reaction to how poorly things went in Minnesota?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's more, maybe he sensed that Randle was kind of hanging on by a thread, like, might go off, and he knew if he lost Randle, the season was lost, and he knows Randle was, like, at his wit's end for whatever reason, and he didn't want to be the one to put him over the edge and tank the whole season.
I think there's some balance where, like, what Knicks we never account for with a coach is getting players to play hard for you and just getting, we would never count for like the locker room stuff, like the getting the team on board. The Knicks went through a terrible stretch where they were like 2-17, some ridiculous stretch during the season, where from there the season should have been just over. And the Knicks actually played well since. I mean, not the most helpful for the draft pick, but the Knicks did play well there after that, and guys are playing really hard for him. There's something that can be said for guys playing hard for you when the season's lost, also.
Yeah.
Especially young players. I don't know how we've had just so many bad coaches here that the fact like the team hasn't given up on him says more than the previous coaches.
I mean, for everyone who wants Tibbs out, who do you want?
Yeah.
It's not like there's a long line of really great coaches just waiting.
Do you think like a first-time coach is going to be so like? First of all, is your only reason because you like the next coach will just do the rotations I want? Because the last couple coaches, everyone's complained about the rotations and everything for every other coach we've had here.
Right.
And
we've tried first-time coaches with Fisher and Hornacek.
Yeah. Do you really think a first-time coach is going to be a good idea? I mean, it could be, but like, seems like quite a gamble. And outside of that, Pop isn't coming here. Who are you getting?
I don't know. Really, I don't have an answer to that.
Terry writes, got a ton of young talent. Do the Knicks deal this year's pick or make the selection?
Make the selection.
I would say if Leon Rose trades this pick, I want him fired on the spot.
Yes.
I want him sent to Guantanamo and not released until the Knicks get a point guard. I feel like that would be a level, and I think I'd put it at least 50% chance he trades the pick.
It would not shock me.
Because I feel like he has this disease of I'm smart and everyone, which is never a good thing.
Yeah.
Patrick writes, my question is, when is the next Brink? Also, where is Bry?
Next Brink will be next week. That's our comedy podcast. Just had some stuff I had to handle this week, so we push it to next week. But
the Knicks season is over. Playoffs are coming, but the Knicks season's over. We'll be doing a lot more Brink going forward.
Yeah.
Where's Bry? Jay?
Bry is at home. He's just he hasn't been in a comedy mood lately. We're trying to get him to come back soon.
We are hoping he'll be back very soon. Two more questions.
Okay.
By the way, do you know the Knicks have clinched this year their second best record in the last 8 years?
Oh my God.
Yeah, whatever. On love these names. On Twitter writes, who is the new coach for next season?
I don't think there's going to be a new coach.
I would be really shocked if there's a new coach.
Yeah.
And Nick's third quarter writes, would you want to see Obi be the starter next season?
If Randle gets traded, sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously I'm hoping Randle gets traded, so I'm hoping I would be happy with. Well, how would you feel if Randle's traded, Obi's the starter, and the Knicks draft another power forward?
Actually, I wouldn't be that mad because after Obi, it would be pretty sparse in the power forward. It would just be right. The Knicks always draft power forwards, but yes.
I mean, the Knicks probably could use another power. I mean, they could use another power forward no matter what. And watching Obi, are you convinced Obi is a 36-minute of a night game? A 36-minute a game night.
36-minute a night player.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this.
No, I'm not. He's been playing good lately, but I don't know yet.
His game needs a lot of development. If there's someone like nipping on his heels in the background, also wanting minutes, that could work out. I mean, Obi in some ways, if Obi was a better defender, he'd be a good center. I feel like a lot of his games feels like he's like a stretch center more than a power forward.
Maybe. I mean, he's not going to be big enough to take on the Embiids and Jokics of the world, but in certain situations, he could do that.
On offense, he feels like, so you're absolutely right. Defense, he's not there. But on offense, what does he do? He has the stretch ability of shooting the three, which is getting better. He's a rim runner. He doesn't create his own offense. You'd want your power forward to be more creating, do some more, have the ability to create their offense a little more.
Right.
which is more. So that's the one thing I feel like is really like he needs to be able to create his offense a little better.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Jay, if IQ is the starting point guard next year?
Sure. At this point, it's like I don't see who they're going to get who's better at this point.
I mean, what do you think about Brunson or Sexton?
I haven't watched too much Sexton. I've seen a little bit more Brunson. Brunson's fine. I just don't know, I don't know if he's good enough to be maybe if he's splitting minutes with IQ, that's fine. But I don't think he's 36-minute a night guy.
I mean, Sexton is also kind of an in-between hybrid guard. So, him next to IQ probably be an interesting pairing.
Could work.
Yeah. I mean, you just have another guy who really can create offense. Especially if you got rid of Randle, it'd be good to add another player who's a good shooter. Just getting more efficient as a team would be really, really helpful. Any last points, Jay?
No.
Just one last point. The Knicks play tomorrow night against the Nets. I don't care what your feeling on the draft position. We need to screw the Nets as much as possible and keep them in 10th place.
Absolutely.
That would be really amazing.
Rooting hard for this. So we'll probably do a playoff preview next week, and then we might start doing every other week so we can fit in more Brink, which is our comedy podcast.
That sounds like a great plan.
The Brink of Sanity, brinkofsanityshow.com, or you can look for it on iTunes or Spotify, all that good stuff. If you want to email us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, and we're also nyknickspodcast on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, nyknickspodcast. So
also in the quick relevant guys are semi-relevant in Knicks world. Lonzo Ball, who many people thought, including who thought the Knicks should have gotten. He's out for the remainder of the season. He only played 30 games this season. Maybe we dodged the bullet with him. Zion Williamson. I don't know why it's reported on Real GM that his stepdad expects him to play this season. But I'm pretty sure he's done this season.
Does his stepdad know 3 games left?
I don't know. But the rumor is that Zion wants out. So maybe the Knicks can have him not play for. It's funny whether he stays in the Pelicans or goes to the Knicks. He won't play for the Knicks next season.
Right, he'll play the same amount of games for the Knicks.
And Lucas Vildoza, who was our European point guard, which Knicks fans fell in love with for half an hour during training camp, has signed a multi-year deal with the Bucks.
So that means he's actually going to be really good.
That means he'll be an all-star. Yeah, exactly. And if I told you at the beginning of the season, Jay, the Knicks would have a better record than the Lakers, what record would you have thought the Knicks were an awesome team?
Yeah, I would have thought they were 3rd seed.
Yeah. It's like we rubbed an evil magic lamp, and we were like, "Here's my wish," and Genie's like, "You want to be better than the Lakers? Ha 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 ha! I'll make you better than the Lakers."
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I think that's it for tonight.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, everybody who joined the live show. And we have a Discord. It's NY Knicks Podcast. You can check out I put links on Twitter and Facebook and everything. And we're also on Twitch, twitch.tv/crumpledbacon, and YouTube, youtube.com/TITOWAJ. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll be back soon.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave.